previously did a video on the benefits and sort of the risks of making meat stock and bone broth, and I addressed sort of what the differences are, what some of the benefits and the nutritional profile of each are, and kind of which one you would want to avoid or implement into your diet depending on your healing journey. If you're healing, meat stock is going to be probably more what you're leaning toward, and if you're in perfect health and you just want a superfood to add, maybe bone broth would be a better route to go. And I just want to show you two books that I love as well. So this book is by Sally Fallon and Kayla T. Daniel, and it's Nourishing Broth, and it's a really, really good resource. It tells you all about broth, the nutritional profile, the differences between meat stock, and there's great recipes in it for how to make so many different types of broth, how to use them to make like gravies and sauces, and to just get those good nutrients in your diet on a consistent basis. So I love the creativity of this book. And then I also have Louise Hay and Heather Dane wrote a book, The Bone Broth Secret. And this is really, really a creative one. It's similar to Nourishing Broth. It doesn't get into as much of the science and the amino acid profiles and kind of everything it does like in the blood-brain barrier, but it has some really, really cool recipes. So one thing that I didn't know is you can make a bone broth with no salt, just meat, no salt, no veggies, and it has a really neutral flavor. And they make like cocktails and desserts and really, really cool stuff with it. So that's a really good resource too. And I'll link those below if you want to get them and just have them in your kitchen for some inspiration on how to get broth into your diet. But today I'm going to be focusing on making meat stock. So today I have my massive, I think this is a 5-gallon pot. It doesn't look that big on camera, but it's really big. And I have, what I'm going to use today are I have 3 turkey carcasses. So these are great for meat stock because they have meat, they have lots of like cartilage, joints, they have skin on the back. It just has all of these really, really good proteins that can be broken down into a really good nourishing broth. So there's 3 of these in here. I just got them from my butcher for $2.50, which is quite a deal in Australia. So that's what I've been using recently. I'm doing a mix today. And then I also have some beef bones. And these also, if you can see, have a lot of meat on them and a lot of that cartilage and kind of joint. They're quite meaty bones. So I'm gonna put about half of this bag in. And then I'm also adding a pig trotter, which is a pig foot. So I really want my meat stock to have a lot of gelatin. And even though I've been doing this for years and years and years, sometimes I still have meat stock where it doesn't gel properly or the way I want it to, and that's devastating because you put so much effort into it. I mean, not really, you just kind of stick it on the stove, but you still want it to be gelatiny. So I have recently always been adding a pig trotter. These are full of gelatin and they will really give you a good stock that gels and gives you all those really good proteins for your gut, hair, skin, nails. Like these just take it to the next level. You could also use chicken feet or knuckle bones. Those are all really gelatinous. But I recently found out in Australia that chicken feet have to be bleached before they can be sold. And that's from our health department. They put in that regulation, which is so insane to me that experts in health would recommend bleaching chicken feet before you eat them because that's toxic. But hey, either way, I don't buy chicken feet anymore because I don't want that. So make sure you know what's going on in your area. And then I have some chicken scraps. Throughout the week when I'm cutting carrots, celery, onions, I'll take like the tops or the leaves and I put them in a bag in the freezer and I just keep adding to it. And then I use it for stock. Waste not, that's what my mom says. And then I have a good quality salt that I'll add after and filtered water. Okay, so let's get started. It's really, really easy to make meat stock, and it is a wonderful traditional superfood that is good for joint repair, gut health, inflammation, your skin, your hair, your nails, your cartilage, detoxification. It helps you to create glutathione and detox your liver. It's really, really such a good, cheap superfood. So let's get started. So I'm gonna throw these chicken carcasses in the pot. I have 4, but I don't think they're gonna fit, so. 1, 2. And then what I love to do is I turn it on low heat and I always add an onion or two, and I kind of caramelize the onion and brown the turkey carcasses or the chicken feet or wings or whatever I have, and it just really pulls out a lot of good flavor. It browns it, it makes it just really nice. And those caramelized onions really add to the flavor. So I always do that to start off. And sometimes the bits get stuck on the bottom, but I just kind of scrape them off as I go. And then when that's browned really well, I'll add water, and I'm just adding enough just to cover the bones. You don't want way too much water or it's not going to gel properly. You're looking for quality, not quantity necessarily. And then I'm going to add those beef bones, and last but not least, a pig trotter. So next I bring it to a boil, and then I reduce it to a simmer. If you have it boiling the whole 2.5 hours, it really breaks down the gelatin, and it can often lead to a non-jelly bone broth, which isn't ideal. So with chicken or turkey, the bones are a lot smaller, so I tend to do about 2.5 to 3 hours for a meat stock. And like I said, at the very end, I throw in those greens, the carrot tops, the celery, and then I turn it off and just kind of let the flavors be extracted from them. I don't like when they're overcooked. Sometimes it can make it a little bit funky, so I really just prefer to add them in toward the end because I'm all about flavor. I want a good tasting meat stock. And then I'm going to let it cool, and I'm going to strain it and put it in glass containers. And then I just put it in the fridge so that it cools before I transfer it to the freezer. And I'm really particular about the containers I use. I don't like mason jars or like those kind of jars because I've just had my bone broth or meat stock expand in the freezer and crack so many times. So I always use like a good solid Pyrex thick glass container for my meat stock, and I make sure it cools before putting it in the freezer, or else you're gonna have a ton of cracked glass and bone broth or meat stock that you're gonna have to throw away. Okay, so an update on the meat stock that I made. It tastes really good. I've already gone through like a quarter of it because it's so good, just on its own with a little bit of salt. But I have to be honest, it didn't get quite the good gelatiny texture that I wanted. It should, when it's in the fridge, almost be solid, like really jelly. You can put a spoon in it and it'll kind of clunk out, I guess. And mine had a bit of gel, but not really up to my standards, and I really wanted that good gelatin. And the reason it didn't is because, so now I'm making it in this massive pot, but I'm still not quite used to making it that way. So sometimes I still fall back into making it in the Instant Pot, which is like much smaller, a 6-liter container. And that's where I would put one of those split pig trotters in. So I just wasn't thinking, and I just only put one of those split pig trotters in that big pot where really it should have had 2 or at least 3. So that's where I went wrong. Don't make that mistake. I just totally wasn't thinking, but it still tastes amazing and has great benefits. So next time I'll make sure to put at least 2 in there to really give it that good gelatinous, strong, firm hold, I guess. But yeah, it's delicious. So don't do what I did. Make it better than me and enjoy your meat stock. Hi, thanks for watching my video. You can feel free to comment or like below, or you can follow me on Instagram or on my website.